Welcome back to Arsenal News TV, and today we're going to look at 6 things you should know about Olympiacos. So we're going to look at everything you need to know about the Greek champions before they take on the Gunners in the Europa League round of 16. It's probably not an over-exaggeration to say that the Europa League round of 16 first leg against Olympiacos on Thursday nights is the biggest game of Arsenal's season so far, with European qualification from the Premier League now looking more or less impossible after yet more drop points against Burnley on Saturday. The Gunners look as though they must now win the Europa League to stand a chance of playing continental football next season. They are up against a familiar opponent in Olympiacos, who Mikel admitted he is desperate to get revenge on after the Greek champions knocked his side out of the Europa League at the round of 32 stage just over a year ago. Well, obviously, it was a really tough one to swallow, he says. The way it happened at the end was really cruel after everything we did in the 2 games to lose it the way we did and with the last chance that Oba had. But we moved on. Obviously, we have some feeling towards that team and we want to put it right. But how much have Olympiacos changed over the past 12 months? And we're going to look at how they have changed and 6 things we Arsenal should be aware of Olympiacos. So the first thing we should look at is what can Arsenal expect from Olympiacos. Olympiacos is thirsty to go far in the Europa League. In previous years, they reached the foundation and did not drink water. Last year, Olympiacos was close to the quarter-finals of the Europa League, but due to some refereeing mistakes, they were left out of the Wolves in the rounds of 16. The Greek Giants have secured this year's championship, however, not mathematically. They are in good condition, they have a weapon that they did not give up on games and have scored a lot of goals in the last minutes. I think Olympiacos will look at the beginning to put pressure on Arsenal and force them to make defensive mistakes, like what happened in Burnley. Generally, they will have their lines very close during the game because they know that Arsenal's offensive line is capable of great things. So the next thing on the list is how confident are Olympiacos that they can beat Arsenal again. Olympiacos have very good psychology, because they have won Arsenal twice in their last 2 visits to the Emirates Stadium, in the 2015-16 season and last year. Moreover, they have gained confidence playing against English teams because in the past, in English stadiums, Olympiacos could not get a positive result and only had defeats. In August of 2018, Olympiacos qualified against Burnley. Last year, they were beating Tottenham 2-0 in London, but just before the end of the first half, a mistake was made by the defender Yassine Mariah. Spurs reduced the deficit to 2-1 and the psychology turned in favour of Jose Mourinho's side in the second half. They ended up winning 4-2. Olympiacos recognises that Arsenal is a very big club. Surely there were other clubs in round of 16 which Olympiacos would have the chances to qualify much more, like the likes of Molde, the Dynamo Zagreb, Slavia Prague and Young Boys. So the next thing on the list is how bad is the centre-back injury crisis at Olympiacos. The absence of Ruben Semedo, who is the rock of Olympiacos' defence, is a very big blow, but the Greek club has the solutions. I have to remind you that Semedo didn't play in Emirates, but he was replaced in the recent league match with Lamia due to injury, who will play on Thursday. Socrates is not yet 100% ready, but he certainly has a lot of motivation to play well against Arsenal. It is a fact, however, that Semedo is a big loss. The bad news for Olympiacos in its last games was that they conceded goals from set pieces with characteristic ease. So next thing on the list is which Olympiacos' players do Arsenal need to watch out for. Undoubtedly, the forward El Arabi. He is a killer. Winger Bruma played very well in the last games. He is in very good form and very quick. Valbuena and Fortinis have magic feet with their passes, can cause a lot of problems in opponents' defence. Finally, the defensive midfielder Villa, who runs non-stop each game and proved that he is the best transfer of the season for Olympiacos. But the biggest secret for Olympiacos is that they have an excellent coach in the form of Pedro Martins, who makes quick decisions during the games and the players play for each other. So the next thing on the list is how has Socrates been getting on since his transfer. In his starts at Olympiacos, Socrates seemed to be affected by his long absence from the field. As time went on, he found his footing and showed that he can develop into a leader in the defence of Olympiacos thanks to his quality and experience. The truth is, he has not yet fully recovered from a shoulder injury, but he will play on Thursday. He's a fighter. In the last 3 games, he was one of the top players of Olympiacos. So the final thing on the list is how big an impact will it be to not have fans in the stadium for Olympiacos. The fans are the 12th player of the Greek team. In the stadium, Olympiacos won over past years against a lot of big clubs like Juventus, Atletico Madrid, Manchester United, Dortmund, Arsenal, Liverpool, and a large share of the success belongs to the fans because they give a great boost to the players, especially at the beginning of the game. Many times in the past, rival football players have publicly stated that they could not hear their teammates because of whistles at Olympiacos' fans during the games. Many coaches have described the stadium as a volcano and a furnace. Also, last year 6,000 Greeks went to the Emirates Stadium and helped a lot in the qualification of Olympiacos. Thousands of fans travel to all parts of Europe, not only to watch the football team. They travel to see basketball, water polo and volleyball teams of Olympiacos. But hopefully the Gunners will be aware of all these situations from Olympiacos. But other than that guys, remain blessed, stay tuned for the next video and peace.